As somebody who loves fashion, I have been watching a lot of reviews, a lot of recaps for this year, and I've been reading up on and watching a lot of predictions for next year. So I wanted to throw my own hat in the ring and talk about what I think I am going to see, what we're all going to see possibly for next year's style and stuff. I think it's going to be heavily influenced by the 1940s. Now, what am I personally going to be doing? I'll be influenced by everything in this little tiny video, but I'll also be a little bit behind because there's no way that I'm not going to get into the bag from last year. I didn't get a chance to really wear or do anything that I wanted to last year due to budget issues, and I don't want to catch up on those styles. But for 2025, I definitely think it's going to be heavily 1940s influenced. One, I've been watching a lot of old movies lately. Like for Christmas, I watched It's a Beautiful Life. Oh my gosh, I loved it. But more than that, I also loved the wardrobe, the hair, and the clothes on both the women and the men. Also, a couple years ago, or maybe just a year ago, one of my favorite Halloween movies that was old, I Married a Witch with Veronica Lake. That was a 1940s movie. All of these influences, I really think I'm not going to be the only one seeing them. So, now my thinking about the 40s is not just because It's a Wonderful Life, but because of the time that it was that mimics now. Maria Callas on Netflix starring Angelina. Maria Callas was an opera singer who first blew up in the early 40s and then didn't pass till like the early 70s. Then there's 688. This movie, the setting is in 1945. Both are 40s movies. So that can only mean one thing. They're back. We were doing a lot of variations of this style, which I think is good because we weren't afraid to get creative, but now it's less about length. And when I say it's less about length, this is what I mean. Like your hair can be long or any length, but I think the point of it nowadays, or is starting to be, is to show off your pretty face. And it's also starting to be more about, what your beautician can do. Because last year we definitely had a lot of French rolls, which I love. But it's going to start being more about sculpting and styling now because everybody can do a sleek bust down or waves and stuff. But markers of wealth and markers of whatever are going to be now. Do you have a beautician who is sculpting and styling? Okay, so on the left is the actress Francine Everett, and on the right, this is just like a beauty ad. But you see how they're probably both have long hair, but they have different styles, and it's swept up and off their face. Also, we were doing ribbons last year, which I will still be doing a big ribbon or bow in my hair, but I can see it getting more elaborate now. And when I say that, I mean like I can see jewels or big butterflies or flowers or even strings of pearls or crystals being put over half up, half down, updos. I just really feel like people are going to get creative. Why? Because the less money we have, the more elaborate the style gets for whatever reason. Like, you see what I mean on the right? That's a short hairstyle, but she still made sure to have those pretty white flowers or pink probably in the front of her hair as ornamentation. And I know that's some kind of roll on the left. I know it is. This is not to say that we're going to start looking all old school and stuff because it's 2025 or about to be. So, we'll know how to sex it up somehow. But I definitely just see a more overall done look. Marlene Dietrich, she was a big star in the 40s and clearly a fashion icon. But if you see on the right, styles like that have already started to creep back in this winter. So then let's look at the neckline on this dress on the left. I love those necklines. It reminds me of figure skaters. You see a lot of this kind of fabric with the sexy floral dresses in high fashion that's coming out really soon. And on top of that, it just reminds me of figure skating dresses and the necklines on 80s bridal dresses. And I just love them. And for the outfit on the right, I'm more so talking about the usage of the fur and the draping than I am about the length of the dress. I don't know, like starting with these suits and business casual and office siren from last year, fashion is starting to look more done. And I guess you're putting your own personal spin on it, but it's looking more put together. Like last year, we did a lot of satins and shiny, slinky fabrics. This year, I think we're going to be moving more towards sheers, which can go on either end of the spectrum. It could be completely see-through and you have all your goodies out, or it could just be creating illusions. And both are very, very sexy and as feminine or as masculine as you want them to be, because I've seen that fabric used a lot of different ways. Women in suits and ties and tailoring will still very much be a thing, which I love because I love going back and forth between femme and masculine and the presentation and just the tailoring, just the pageantry of it all. I love. But now I think it'll be getting creative spins, like you see the feathers on the right with her suit. I can foresee salons becoming a thing again. One, because we all need jobs and the going it alone, maybe it's not as lucrative as it used to be. Two, lace wig wearers, though we are everywhere, wearing edges is starting to go out of style. So now wig stylists have started to do the edgeless look where everything is very natural. That takes some skill. And on top of that, old school hairstyles don't really support baby hair, so I get that. Maybe our generation is just growing out of it. I don't know. But lastly, women who are wearing shorter hairstyles, a lot of them, black women, are going back to relaxers. Now, I am neutral on that. I don't have a stance one way or another, but I know this is a thing. And so people are in the salons getting it done. Now, as somebody who embraces edges, I am making no guarantees because I love baby hair. Like, I'll be wearing it, but not all the time, maybe, because I love different kind of hairstyles too. And crazily enough, not every hairstyle calls for edges. Some of the stars that were big in the 40s were Ava Gardner, Dorothy Dandridge. You see that draping shearing. Rita Hayworth, you see her hair. Sheila Guise with her updos. Veronica Lake had a style that was all her own. Eartha Kitt, you see the sexy drapery. And there's Betty Grable. You see that flower in her hair. And Maria Callas. Woo, look at them dresses. So do I think that everybody's going to be walking around looking like that? No, absolutely not. As a matter of fact, I'm excited to see like the different cultures, what everybody's going to be wearing. Like the street style set, I'm excited to see what they come up with for 2025. For the hippie bohemian girls, I'm excited to see their spins on 2025. Everybody is getting back into an individualistic stance, which makes me excited because then there's going to be more creativity. We're not going to be as uniform as we have been in the past few years, I think. But my own personal influences, I'm going to be looking at the 40s. And I also think that the people with a little bit more money and the people that can afford the glamour of all that, that's what it's going to be reflective of, simply because it's looking like that is what our country is mirroring right now. The events of the 40s and also the glamour. So y'all let me know what you think.